The sprint details section provides greater insight into what the team was working on during the sprint. So you can see here that for each product backlog item, we're going to show which ones were completed, in progress, not started, added and removed. For each product backlog item, we show a summary. We provide the story points to give stakeholders an indication of the effort that was involved, whether it was planned or not planned. This is used to give stakeholders an idea of what entered the sprint that wasn't planned for at the beginning. And this can be very useful because a lot of times teams have unplanned work such as business as usual or BAU. Sometimes it's urgent production defects that need to be dealt with. And what can happen is that means that the team doesn't complete their original plan that we had communicated to them. So when they see these unplanned items, it helps them understand why we may not have completed the original plan, but it can also get those stakeholders to help you and your team. They might notice that there is a lot of unplanned work from certain areas within the organization, and they can help find ways to reduce it. The next column is a comment column. And here you can add in your comments that you want to convey to your stakeholders. And lastly, there is a feedback column. So that's intended for your stakeholders to fill in, to provide their input, or it might be you or your team adding in the feedback during the sprint review. So let's have a look at a completed report. So you can see here under the comments, we have provided not just text, but also a link as well. And this can be very useful if you want to direct your stakeholders either to more information, or you might want to direct them to a test version of what your team has just built and allow them to have a go at playing around with it. So that can be very useful, again, to obtain their feedback. I also like to add in video if it's feasible. Sometimes stakeholders aren't comfortable with playing around with a demo site or a test site, or they don't want to log onto the system. Maybe they're very time poor. So instead, you can record a demo and they can play it back to themselves when they get the chance. So it can be, again, a really useful way to align expectations with them around what was produced, but also to elicit some feedback on what the team has done. Lastly, you can see here under the feedback column, the stakeholder has edited the report and added in their feedback, of course, because they have looked at this offline. Again, they weren't able to attend the team sprint review, but if this was presented during the sprint review, then you or someone from your team would probably be jotting the feedback as your stakeholders give them to you. Now, a tip here, don't forget to perhaps initial who gave the feedback, okay, if you've got multiple stakeholders. And if you have multiple stakeholders editing this report, it's useful to get them to use different colors as well, different font colors, and that can help you differentiate where the feedback was coming from.